strong sound, which is great for concert use. And the reason why I use cedar is because cedar gives the warmer tone. If you use this with spruce, then it gives a colder tone. This is a spruce top. It's characterised by the quality of sound that it gives, which is a more penetrating, highly focused sound. And it takes much longer to develop. It probably takes about a year and a half to 2 years to develop the tone of spruce, and then it reaches a peak and holds that peak. With cedar, you've got because it's a more flexible open timber. It takes probably 6 months to develop the sound out of a cedar top, whereas, as I said, 2 years or a year and a half or 2 years for a spruce top. I'm just preparing the sides to take the back. The back is curved. It's not flat. It's curved. So this curved stick here is just putting a very subtle curved edge to the lining and the side here, so that the back can continue to be formed into its correct profile. In England, I had a very strong setup with 7 other makers and a very well established teaching situation for my workshop, and I've taught many people in England, and really I tried to always create around me a community of makers and students and players. And this is obviously because guitar making is a very solitary experience. You're often on your own, a lot of time to think, a lot of time to evaluate what you're doing, but without the feedback from other people and other makers, and especially other players as well, then you can often be working in the dark. This for me is the moment where the instrument becomes one, becomes an holistic being, so to speak, that everything's together, the front, the back, the sides, the neck, it's all whole. It becomes its birth, it's the moment where it becomes a box, so to speak. It's a bit of a plain expression, but it's a very important moment, and a moment I always like to stop and reflect on where the instrument's going, who the player will be, and how the instrument is built. And I sometimes have a peculiar sensation when I run my hands inside the instrument. I feel a strange sense of oscillation or vibration, we call it, that the maker imparts into the instrument. That in a sense these are inert materials, but it has a certain frequency, and you can tune into that. I find I can tune into that with my hands. I can feel it in my hand, and I can feel the wood, very, very subtle level. And for me, it's a moment. I would call it the moment of christening the guitar, blessing the instrument for its life. We're going to put these 2 plates in here, so they should be about 10 centimeters long, and whatever we've written on it's about 20. For me, teaching has a number of different aspects. I think it's partly selfish because I don't want to be lonely, and I love the company of other people, and I'm quite a sociable person, and so to bring a social element into my work has been very important and very, very fun as well. And I also believe that guitar making is one of the arts, and like many things these days, the artisan occupations is in the process probably it could cease to exist, where all guitars are made in Japan in factories or something like that. So for me to transmit my work and what I know to other people has also a sense of pride that I'm continuing in expanding the profession of guitar making out into the world. In England, I run a very successful evening class, and a lot of makers have set up in the town of Lewes now. There's 7 professional makers in the town, many of which have been my ex-students. On moving to Spain, I started an evening class here, and I've also, one of the things I wanted to do here was to run intensive 1-month Spanish guitar making workshops. My 1-month intensive course is an experience, often a roller coaster ride for people, and we start from the raw material, the basic raw material, choosing the material, constructing all the different elements of making a guitar, the front, the sides, the back, the neck, the bridge,
and 7 major components of the instrument. And then people can't believe that in that time, in that 4-week period, at the end of the 4 weeks, they would have made their own instrument and have experienced all the different aspects of guitar making. When I first started teaching 12 years ago, I didn't think that my teaching students would result in them actually following the profession of a guitar maker after doing my courses. But I've been very, very happy to have developed or provided an opportunity for people to actually start their own profession. Just get a little bit further down so you can feel, rather than a step, we've got more of a feather edge. Can you feel that?
Yes.
It will achieve it, it will do it. But if you look at it here, it comes thick here.
Yes.
And it suddenly dives away to that line, so you actually have to take away.
Yes.
Can you see that point there?
Yeah.
It's like a lump, there's a lump in here. You've got to keep cleaning it until it basically does that. I think of the number of students I've taught, and I would be hard pressed to try and work out how many students I've taught, probably in the region of 40 to 50 people maybe. And I'm very happy to say there's probably now, I think, 5 or 6 professional makers out of those people are now working as guitar makers. And coming to Spain was having left a very strong situation in Lewes, near Brighton, having left a very strong setup now of ex-students working on their own as professional makers, coming to Spain, to the land of the guitar, to hopefully sow some seeds here as well. And then we're going to have the 2 main harmonic bars, which will go up there like that. And it's not square.
Oh, of course.
Let's turn it around. Yes, it's going to. It's not going to be a very nice joint like that. So we want it nice and square, so that we've got a nice connection between the harmonic bar and this structural plate in here, which stabilises the whole area of the rosette. Over the years, I've had students from many different countries, including Iceland, Germany, France, and Spain, incidentally. Coming here, my hope would be to perhaps provide an opportunity for young Spanish people to look at perhaps taking up guitar making as a career. At the moment, all my students are from other countries, not from Spain. And I'd like to provide an opportunity for Spanish people here as well. I think I'm very, very lucky to be a guitar maker, because I think it's a profession which has got so many different facets, from choosing raw material, from working with raw material, to creating sound, to creating design, structure, working with the workshop environment, which is a beautiful environment to work in. And I think that, and obviously the most rewarding situation is that I'm building a product, building something which has a lot of value to the person who receives it in the end, the customer, the client, the player. And for me, it's a very, very rewarding moment to have worked and sweated blood and tears to make an instrument to the best of my ability. And it's a very hard thing to make a fantastic guitar. It's a very, very difficult thing to make a really top-level instrument. Then to be rewarded with the client's appreciation of my work is for me a great sense of achievement.
Hello, my name is Ricardo. I am from Croatia.
And I'm Stephen Hill, as you know. And Jens is here for the international guitar competition, the Andres Segovia International Guitar Competition 2006. And so he's staying with me, which is very nice, and it's a great opportunity for me also to show my instruments to Jens and also to the other players, to get a real opinion, good and bad, about my instruments.
It's a very good guitar. It's new.
Very new. It's only,
Very new,
I think
yeah.
it's been strung maybe 1 week, something like
Yeah.
this.
So it needs some time to open.
To open up, yeah.
It's very warm. Very. I think it will be very loud.
At that moment when the player takes the guitar, that is still very early days for the instrument, because the guitar can also be moulded. I'm moulding the guitar from the raw material, producing something that I feel is right due to with my experience. Then there's a strange phenomenon that when the player then takes the instrument, they also are inputting into that instrument. It's not like an inanimate object where that's it. The guitar is just it's as it's going to be for the rest of its life. There's what we could perhaps call a vibrational element to the instrument, where you can input, even after the construction, input the player's imprint onto the instrument, and a top player can radically change an instrument or improve an instrument just by playing that guitar in perfect tune with sensitivity, and can work the instrument, and it can transform the instrument from a great instrument into a fantastic instrument. Likewise, a bad player can transform an exceptional instrument into something perhaps mediocre, and then handing that instrument to a top player, you can almost sometimes see the instrument changing, or feel or hear the instrument changing into perhaps what it should be. So the guitar is an instrument which is incredibly fickle. It's a really fickle instrument, and that is, I think, is quite clear in sometimes the nature of the music that's played on the instrument. With flamenco, it's a very life and death experience.